I was so close to just crying. I'll be honest, like alcohol, drugs, girls,
We're gonna have these graduation parties, so it's an excuse to go drink and get high.
hopefully finding a wife in the probably near future. Someone who is imperfect cannot create a perfect solution. Only a perfect being or a perfect thing can create something which is perfect.
Salam, everyone. We have Mart over here. I'll link his channel below, but before we start, why don't you just introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Assalamu alaikum to everybody watching. My name is Mark. I have a YouTube channel. I'm 25 from London. I'm a revert of coming up to 6 months now. In my sort of past life, I was a dating coach. I would say a hedonist as well. For those of you who don't know what hedonist is somebody who basically chases pleasure. For me, every time I achieve something or every time that, I was with a girl or, etc., I would feel a sense of achievement, but it would only last about a day or two. And so I felt like I needed a connection with something or someone more powerful. And that's, Alhamdulillah, I'm Muslim now.
Awesome. Awesome.
So I
So,
just need to close my window, right?
no problem.
There you go.
My name is Jesse Emerton. As many of you know, I'm a self-improvement YouTuber, and I also reverted to Islam on January 4th, Alhamdulillah. And yeah, we're just here to share our thoughts, talk about a lot that we already do on the channel, but I'd say we get right into it. So you said you used to be a dating coach. So talk about how did that work?
Yeah, so I was a dating coach for a couple of years. I mean, seriously, for about 6 months, but I was doing it over the course of a couple of years. A lot of these coaches are people who take courses and they think that, if you take a course that gives you life experience, when in reality, the only way you can really learn to be a coach is if you've gone through those experiences yourself. And so that in itself should kind of tell you what kind of life that I live. Yeah. As you can see, someone who makes poor choices as well, but also somebody who was really out there, very experimental in terms of, going out to clubs and I'll be honest, like alcohol, drugs, girls, all of that kind of stuff. So I thought, this is a skill that I have now. Let me put it to use. And so I started to coach people. I actually started off on Fiverr. I don't know if you're probably familiar with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of the place that a lot of freelancers start because, you can offer your service for cheap. And then over time, once you start building up a relationship with people, you can take it elsewhere and charge a bit more. So this is what I did. I really helped a lot of guys, mainly. I had some female clients as well, surprisingly. But I helped a lot of guys who are really, really finding it difficult in the dating market nowadays. And I felt sorry for them because I also experienced that. When I was 18, the dating market was way easier than it is now. Social media, this is about 7 or 8 years ago. Yep. Social media wasn't as prominent as it is now. You could approach the girls that you found attractive. You could match them on dating apps. But nowadays, it's almost like social media, if you want to message a girl, she basically has to be following you in order for her to receive that message, right? And it's the same with dating apps as well. So
it's obviously true. Like, I don't know, I'm in America right now, and obviously you're 25, so you're about 6-7 years older than me. But yeah, everything that you say there is true now, and I'm sure it will be for a while, because you see, in my perspective, is I just finished high school and everyone's like, oh, we're gonna have these graduation parties, so it's an excuse to go drink and get high. I'm like, so you just did 12 years of school, and sure, it's an accomplishment for some people, and you're just going to go party and drink and booze. I'm like, listen, this is the time that we need to focus on ourselves and focus on Allah, and then just self-improve, not to just go waste our time. Like, this is the real world. There's no more, let me go home to my parents and let them make me a sandwich. No, you're going to college, you're doing all this. This stuff has got to change, and people don't realize that. And I think, no offense to you, but these people, they kind of relate to these dating coaches and they ask them for advice instead of looking at a religion, or not even a religion, but looking at a mentor that's in a good space. They chase a lifestyle. Like, they just want this pleasure. There's no pain. They just chase this pleasure. So instead of finding a mentor, even like Allah, they just go to these people that are very degenerate, that teach you how to get girls and teach you like how to shotgun a beer in 30 seconds so you can impress people at a party or stuff like that. And it's just like, I've been there too. I didn't live that life. Like, I'm only 17, but yeah, I was there from age 16 to 17. I've been to some parties, and you look there and you're just like, I can't be here. This is haram. I don't want to be here. And it's not worth my time. At the end of the night, it's just a waste of time. And I'm like, I missed prayers. I could have spent my time working And from that point on, I was like, I just need to focus on myself, because I know I'll attract the right people in my life, and people will leave. And as long as I have the relationship with Allah and I believe in Islam, everything will be all right.
Wow. MashaAllah, man. That, coming from a 17-year-old who's just finished high school, that was I mean, me at 17, I wouldn't have had that same opinion. So I'm very, very impressed. But yeah, as you said, the best thing to do is find a role model who acts the right way, right? And obviously the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is the person who we should really try and copy, mimic, that kind of thing. And I think it's funny because the ad that I first posted on Fiverr was basically photos of me and girls who I was seeing. I used to have stuff for a lot, but I used to have like rotations, right? Once you learn how to play that game, you start, like, I'm a very analytical sort of person. I know what works and what doesn't, and I put that into practice. So in that life, I used to do that. And I used to post photos of that on the Fiverr ad. And the first thing that guys would say to me is like, how the hell did you do that? And I think they gravitate towards somebody who can prove that they know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
The motive there is just like, I feel like these guys are misguided, right? Instead of chasing a connection with your creator, they're chasing temporary sort of pleasure and hedonism.
It's all they do.
Yeah.
And this ties in exactly with the red pill compared to Islam, because for me, the red pill was the degenerate version of like, focus on your goals, but also get girls and play with them, get experience, and then just ditch them. The difference between that and Islam is still like you have a purpose in life, but also you need to protect these women, provide for them. So I feel like, I don't know if you're in the same position, but like, let's say a girl just broke up with you, you're angry. You're in that red pill rage when you're just like, you're angry and you're like, oh, I'm going to get back at them, so I'm just going to be a degenerate and go do all this stuff. And you learn like it. I'll tell you like firsthand, it works. Like, I used to be a simp, but like when I looked into this red pill, like the stuff that they teach you, it works, but it's just not worth it. It isn't worth it. And I went through that phase of that red pill rage. And then when it brought me to Islam, I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not supposed to be doing this degenerate stuff, even though I'm still focusing on my purpose and my passion. It doesn't have to be resonated with a red pill if I can focus on the Creator and Allah, because an abundance will come to me instead of me chasing it with these women. So that was my perspective.
Yeah. It's surprising you have that kind of perspective as well, because you're only 17, right? So, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you've been sort of with girls or talking to girls since you were a bit younger, but that is very interesting. For me, I had sort of an epiphany sort of moment where it was late one night. I'm not going to say exactly what happened. I was in a car, dropped a girl off, and then I sat there and I was just like, I was so close to just crying. And I didn't know why. And I felt so empty. I almost felt like I was selling my soul. And I remember I called my friend, and he wasn't really as much into that sort of life. And he was in a relationship. And he was like, bro, like, why are you doing this? Like, you clearly don't enjoy it. You clearly don't feel any fulfillment from it. And from then onwards, I'm not going to say I completely stopped, because this was about 3 or 4 years ago. But I slowed it down massively. And I think events or moments like that is when you really sort of take a step back and really evaluate, why am I doing this? And ever since, I found Islam, I've done a complete, I don't want to say 180, because that would imply that I'm going backwards, but I've changed pace and I've changed where I'm going. And so the main focus for me now is learning more about Islam, hopefully finding a wife in the probably near future, because that is a big part of how you're going to avoid zina as well. So
it makes complete sense. And like, obviously, like I said, I'm only 17, so I don't have much experience as you do. But when you go through these situations and you reflect on it afterwards, you just feel like this was just not worth it at all. It's like that temporary pleasure that's like for 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, you're like, oh, this is awesome. Like when you get to that, I'm not going to say it, but when you get to that point of like the height, when you get with a girl and then and then you think like, oh, this is it. But then you think you're on top of the world, but then you realize you're like, no, this is not what I want to be doing.
Temporary.
Maybe it's good I've experienced that, but there's got to be a deeper purpose out there, because if this is the peak, I don't want to be like this. I want to do something else. And obviously, when you look at Islam, it's haram for a reason. All these stuff are haram for a reason, because Allah knows, and He wants you to go to this path of truth. So you follow that instead. And that just changed like my whole perspective of that. It's just crazy.
I would say one of the main points I have against against red pill. And look, in terms of red pill overall, I don't necessarily think it's like a terrible thing. I think there are aspects of every movement or every ideology where they've taken it too far and it's too extreme. But the basics of red pill, you know, self-improvement is essentially what it is, right? And then that completely makes sense, you know, working yourself, become more attractive. I just think it's misguided in a sense that you're doing all of this to eventually get women. That is literally the end goal, really, because why do you want money? Why do you want, you know, status, all of this kind of stuff? It's to get women. Whereas if you shift your perspective and say, I want to be more attractive so I can get a wife, right? But I can create a family from that. I want to earn more money so then I can give more to charity and help out other Muslims and build mosques and that kind of thing. I think that slight pivot in your motive is very, very important. Something else that I wanted to also add is that I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but I would say red pill almost takes advantage of this new generation of young men. And I feel bad for them because they are so vulnerable in a place where women are completely championed and they're basically treated like men now. And all of these young men are just kind of sad, lonely, and depressed. And they see this movement and it's like, you know, basically men first, you know, improve yourself. You're going to be this top G, basically. You're going to be Andrew Tate. When in reality, almost none of them ever will be. And I think it's sort of selling them a dream. It's good because it motivates them, but it also sells them a dream. So it's kind of like, you know, it's different.
I can give you a prime example of that. So first, what I want to say is, the difference between red pill and Islam is red pill is the end goal is to get a woman. You're building up, you're attracting your value so you can attract high value women. But with Islam, not even Islam, but just like self-improvement in general, you're doing it for yourself to build yourself a future because you owe it to yourself, not to any other people to impress them. Yes, the generation that I'm in is completely just blinded by this. And you see this, there's some people that will actually focus on themselves. Like I know a couple people who don't care about women. They just want to improve themselves in their future. But then there's those other people who do the minimal amount of work and then flex it on social media and Instagram to get these women's attention and then start messaging them. So they'll like have a Tinder account and all this stuff. And then it will all be not for them to be successful, even though quote unquote, they are successful on these social medias. But in the end goal, it's just to get some woman's attention, like their ex that broke up with them. I don't understand it, but I get it. People just are so blinded. Like even I've tried to help people, not in the sense of like red pill, but like self-improvement. Like I've had friends saying, okay, let me help you. Like I know you're degenerate and so was I, but I can completely help you shift like I was able to. And I say, all right, let's work together. Let's do all this. And then maybe they came for, I'm not gonna say names, but they came for one day and worked with me. I was like, all right, you did good. Let's continue this and we can actually build something, build a nice future for ourselves.
Consistency.
Because that's what they're lacking. And then the next day, where are you at? Where are you at? I'm at a party. You want to come? No, we're supposed to. I feel like all of these people my age, they rely on motivation instead of like consistency and anything other than that.
Discipline,
That just discipline, because that lasts like an hour, 30 minutes. They'll go watch one of my videos, like, I want to work. I have people watching my videos and text me like, dude, I want to get on what you're doing. And I'm like, I'm willing to help you. I want everyone to succeed in my life. Like the people who support me, I want you to succeed too. And I help them. Like, I'm like, here, you can learn from this. I will teach you this. And then what happens 3 days later? They're like, sorry, I got caught up and I was like, what? No, come on. If you wanted it, you wanted it, but you don't have the dedication, you don't have the discipline. So unfortunately, you can't help these people as much as I tried. And I've tried, but you just can't help them. You have to just cut out these people in your life because they're just going to bring you down. Like it's a crab in a barrel. If you've heard what that is. When the crab tries to climb out, the other crabs push him back in. Same thing. When I was trying to make my YouTube, people were laughing at me. Literally, my old friends were laughing at me on the channel and like, oh, this is just stupid. This is so funny. And then the same people were like, oh, congratulations on I hit 11K today. So like, congratulations on 11K. I was I'm like, I'm a supporter of your channel. I'm like, but you weren't when I started, when I had 200 subscribers, when I had 20, you were laughing at. They're just there to make fun of you. But then when you get successful, they're jealous and they want to say, oh, I knew that kid. I was with him when it happened. It's so much stuff I could talk about.
Yeah, 100%. And I think a lot of these people are the type to, because there's a portion of red pillars, right, who, and I think it has a different sort of name, but it's sort of branched off red pill. I think it's black pill, who are sort of like,
hate women and everything.
Yeah, but also, I think there's probably a group in between some or part of red pill where it's almost like nihilistic and just like hopeless. It probably is black pill, right?
Yeah, it's the black pill.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I think a lot of these people who rely on motivation, It's like, bro, like if you're consistent over a certain period of time,
Yeah.
something will happen. It may not be you may not become Andrew Tate, right? But
Yeah.
you may become somebody who's a millionaire. You know,
Exactly.
if you put in that consistency, you're going to get results. It just depends on the extent of the results. And I think a lot of these guys, and I get them as well, just like asking me for advice, and then you tell them what to do, and then they don't do it. And
They
it's like,
don't. They can't.
yeah.
I worked on my channel. I said, look, I'm just gonna post a video every other day. I'm gonna see how it goes. I don't care if the channel gets views or not, because it's a document for myself to show my process and my growth. 4 months later, I hit 10,000 subscribers. Inshallah, I will hit 100K, and
Inshallah.
consistency. So if anyone's watching this and they're dealing with that, like even the people in my grade or my school, you just need to just lock in and focus. As much as that's just very broad, it's the truth. There's nothing else to say to it. Is you're not going to see results maybe in 2 months, maybe even 2 years. But if you lock in, you stay focused, the competition is going to drop. Because like I remember when I started trading 2.5 years. No, it was 2 years and about.
You say training?
Forex trading.
Oh, trading.
Or
Okay, yeah.
actually, better example is the gym. I
Yeah.
started going to the gym about 3 years ago. I don't know the exact date. People would go with me, and then you see these people drop off. I'm like, why you not going anymore? They're like, oh, I don't know, I didn't see results. And then like 3 years later, people compliment me on my physique. I'm like, brother, you were there with me. You could have done this too, but you just dropped off and wanted to generate drinking and partying. Like I remember, I don't want to give shame, but one of my friends who got me into lifting, he used to lift way more than me. We had like a competition, like let's get to this number, lifting weights like bench press and blah blah blah, all this stuff, just weird stuff. But then these people drop off, and you're like, I want to go to the top with you. Why are you not doing this? And they just make up these excuses and put the blame back on you and get angry at you. I'm like, brother, I'm just trying to help. It is what it is. It's hard. Because you see these people and you grow up with these people, but you can't help them, and you know you're going completely different paths, and it's just you got to accept it, because someone's going to be successful, someone's not.
Yeah, 100%. And I think if these people continue to ask you, you know, all you can do is give them advice, but over time you start to realize that this person just likes to talk. They don't actually like to do. And you know, people who like to talk just don't really get anywhere in life, and people who do.
Yeah, completely true. I mean, I don't know about your situation, but just like the amount of people who are just all talk it's insane.
Bro, like honestly, if we want to talk about people who talk a lot, and it seems like I hate Red Pill. I honestly don't hate Red Pill at all. I like a lot of the people who are part of Red Pill. I actually quite like Fresh and Fit as people. I like Andrew Tate. I like all of them. But if you want to talk about people who talk a lot, I would say 90% of Red Pillers are just your everyday average guy who just talks online. Oh, I've made 5,000 this month, or I've made 10,000 this month. And in reality, if you looked at their bank account, they're probably just making it up. Like it's probably just all chat, 100%. And it's all just like, you know, for clout and all of that.
And you can distinguish these people like once you start to work on yourself and you actually start to make improvement, you can distinguish, because there's like you see these TikToks and it's like these kids my age that post like with their rented Lamborghinis and all this stuff, and the post like 2 years ago I just started my business with my boy and now we're millionaires, blah blah blah, and they post all these like TikToks, and it's like, that's good. You're getting clout. Is that really what you want? Like, I thought you wanted to build an empire, but this isn't what you want.
And is it built on the truth as well, or is it built off lies? So yeah,
I've seen so many people who say how I made $90,000 a month. In reality, it's just not the truth. And it's like it ties in with the Red Pill. They're not doing it for themselves, because if they were, they would actually be making that much money. They're doing it for the clout, the woman or whatever that they're chasing that comes with it. But like I said, if you want to focus on Islam, you're doing it for the creator to get to the afterlife, and you're also just staying true to Islam and just the rules that they give you. That's another thing I love about the difference between Red Pill and Islam. Is Red Pill is just like do whatever you do, morally, unmorally, OnlyFans. Islam is like, here are rules that you should follow by Allah, and also focus on yourself and get to that next level, improve yourself. But remember, these things are not allowed, so stay away from things, because I know the truth.
Yeah, I think I know we're kind of running out of time, so I just want to sort of just give this a little bit of a message. I think I was about to say, if you're a young guy, but any guy really, and you know, you're maybe a red pillar, you're living that kind of life. What I would say is that obviously not everything is bad about red pill, but you have to take into consideration that it's a man-made ideology, and someone who is imperfect cannot create a perfect solution. Only a perfect being or a perfect thing can create something which is perfect. So you have to understand that it's flawed. So if I were you, I would take certain aspects of it, sure, but you have to also realize these aspects are in Islam already. So I would say to anybody watching this, you're a young man or even a young woman, maybe, you know, I'm not sure what percentage of your viewers are women, but like
0.0001 maybe. maybe if that.
But if you're, you know, a guy or a girl and you're not Muslim, and you feel like, you know, maybe you are living a hedonistic lifestyle and you want some kind of fulfillment, I would say just read up on Islam, try and find that connection with your creator. And through doing that, you will live a much happier life, honestly.